Everybody, I'm Caris, and welcome to Unmasked, where we talk about real hurts, real struggles, but we offer real hope in the midst of those. We are so glad to have you here with us today. If you notice, I am not on set today. I am recording from home. We are doing our best to respect all the things that the government has asked us to do right now. So we are doing some remote recording, but we still wanted to offer you good quality information and some encouragement as we move through a new week with this quarantine. So very quickly, just to remind you, you can find us on our Facebook page. You can also find us on Spectrum 180, the Roku, and any of the podcast platforms. Lots of great shows on My Coleman TV right now to offer you good, solid information, but also offer you some encouragement. And that's what we want to do today here on Unmasked. Yes, there have been a lot of struggles. There have been a lot of negativity going on, and honestly, a lot of things that have caused great fear within our country and within our world, and I would even say great anxiety. And we talked about that last week on our episode of Unmasked, and we talked about how to deal with that anxiety when it comes to this virus, this pandemic. And you can go back and watch that and get some great tips on how to overcome anxiety in the midst of this pandemic, which you can do. I get it, friends. I have dealt with anxiety a lot throughout my life, especially over the last 9 years. Anxiety and depression crippled me, and it crippled my life, and it stole my joy, and it robbed me of my purpose. And maybe you are finding yourself there today. You are sitting at home and you are not at work. You are not in your normal routine, and it is overwhelming to you, and you don't know how to respond. You don't know how to find the good in this situation. And that's what I want to talk with you today, is to unmask how to find positivity in the midst of a pandemic. It is there, and it is important for us to stay on that positive side, that positive outlook of things. If we stay in fear, if we consume that message of fear, what we are doing is feeding that fear, and it is growing in our mind. And when it grows in our mind, it grows through our actions, and that's how we begin to live our life. And we don't want to respond to this in fear. Yes, we want to be prepared and we want to be informed, but we do not want to be in panic and live in fear. So we want to starve that fear by feeding our faith, feeding our positivity, and realizing there are good things happening right now in our world in the midst of this pandemic. And I've reached out to some of you, and I'm going to share a lot of the things that you all share with me about the positivity that you have experienced, the good things that you've experienced in your life over the last couple of weeks. But first, I wanted to share a couple of studies with you that talk about the power of positivity on your life, on your physical body. And one of these is from Johns Hopkins Medicine. This is from their website. And this has to do with heart disease. And what they found is that a person with a more positive outlook on life, who looks for the positive things versus the negative, this decreases your chances of having a heart attack. Research shows people who are more positive may be better protected against inflammatory damage of stress. And that is what is happening when you have a lot of stress on your body. It causes inflammation in your heart, in your body, and so then your physical body begins to respond to that inflammation in a negative way. So that is one good thing. By being positive, it helps protect your heart, and it helps keep your heart healthy. So another study I found, this was from March 2016 from the Journal of Behavior Research and Therapy. And this was from King's College in London. And they found 102 subjects, so 102 people who dealt with some form of anxiety disorder. Okay, now a lot of us are dealing with that anxiety right now. So they found 102 people diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. And what they asked them to do is visualize a positive outcome to 3 worries that they faced that week. And what they found was that by focusing and visualizing a positive outcome, this brought about greater happiness in their life, restfulness, and it decreased their anxiety. Now, who right now wants to decrease your anxiety? I'm sure your hand is going up. You're saying yes and amen. Please decrease my anxiety. I cannot take this anymore. So by being positive, it decreased their anxiety. And I love that it said that it brought about restfulness in their life. And we need that restfulness desperately right now so our bodies can be calm and our brains can be calm. I would even go on and add that there is a study out of Harvard that shows through gratitude, through having an attitude of gratitude, which is another positive outlook, your brain cannot physically think in a gratitude state and an anxious state at the same time. It cannot happen. So when you are actively focusing on things that you are thankful for and you are grateful for, it keeps those anxious thoughts at bay. It keeps those anxious thoughts from coming in and controlling your life, which is not where we want to be, especially in practicing social distancing. The last thing that we need to do when it comes to anxiety is to isolate ourselves and to allow those negative and anxious thoughts to take over. So this is why I asked you guys, share with me some positive things that you have seen currently take place in the midst of this pandemic. And I will say this, I have seen that there are more positive news stories coming out now versus negative. And I've seen where they talk about like the first 3 cases in Maryland, those people, they are fine and they are healthy and they have overcome. China was able to close down a lot of the pop-up hospitals that they had to test for the coronavirus. Their active cases have decreased greatly, and the same for South Korea. And they are beginning to see a lot of retail stores open back up, and they are moving back to a normalcy in life that they had. So that's a lot of the positive things that we have seen overseas. I've seen countries come together and work on vaccines and work on ways to combat this pandemic so that we can move forward and move forward quickly. So that has been great to see. I've seen a lot of people in our government, they are desperately trying to work together in the midst of party lines. And there are a lot in our government who are doing that. And my prayer is that more in our government will continue to unify and come together for the good of the people of this country. But I wanted to share your positives. As we close out our Unmasked episode today, I wanted to share your positives. And I want to challenge you through today and through this week to find the good, find the positive. Y'all, there is so many good things that we can see if we'll just look for it. So I want to challenge you to do that today and this week. But many of the things that you shared from me were that our community has come together to feed the children who get fed through this school. So we know that our schools are closed right now, and we have seen our community and communities, I will say, across the country come together and make sure that these children and these families are still getting fed. Even though they're not at school every day, we're still making sure they get fed. Some of you shared that churches are coming together to work together for the common good, to help everyone, to serve everyone together. They're not serving separately, they're serving together. The dedication of our hospitals and our hospital staff to protect us and to keep us alive. They are on the front lines, sacrificing, getting up every day, leaving their families, leaving the safety of their home to protect us and to help those who are sick, maybe not just with the coronavirus, but with other things going on in their lives. They are sacrificing, going out on the front lines for us every day. That is definitely a positive. Another positive you guys shared is that you truly appreciate what teachers do every day. Because now we, as we stay at home and we teach our kids, we are realizing what our teachers do every single day. And we have a greater appreciation for how they work with not just 1 or 2 or 3 students, but 20 to 30 sometimes in their classroom all day. And they work hard to make each and every one of those students feel special, feel loved, and to get what they need. So we're beginning to realize that. Some positives that others have shared is that you're getting more family time. because your schedules are not filled with going to this practice and that practice. So you get to spend time with your family. We've been outside more. We've had beautiful weather over the last few days, and we've been able to get outside and actually get that vitamin D in that our bodies desperately need. We've been able to slow down and not just fill our schedules with the busyness of life. And by slowing down, it's allowed our bodies to rest. It's allowed us to look around and see and find those small things that we can be thankful for. Just looking through this, you've increased your family time. You've seen more kindness throughout your community, throughout your state, in our country. We've seen people come together and be more kind to one another. I have seen where NBA basketball teams and professional baseball teams, those players have come together and said, hey, we will pay the salary of those staff, those people who worked within our stadiums that were hourly pay. We'll pay those salaries for them so that they're not missing a paycheck. So we've seen a lot of people come together and make sure that everyone is still getting a paycheck in some form or fashion. Reading more books. We have moved out of consuming so much technology and video, and we're opening books more and getting that in. So many other things that I've seen. I'm just looking through here. And then the main one that I've seen is less hurry, and more time to just enjoy life, to enjoy your cup of coffee, to enjoy your family time and your friends, and to just realize that we're going to get through this. By slowing down and stopping, by focusing on the positive, we are beginning to see we're going to make it through this pandemic. We're going to push through and we're going to overcome. And when we get on the other side, we're going to be able to thrive. And my prayer and my hope is that we stay in these things that we're learning to do. We stay in kindness. We stay in an attitude of gratitude. We stay in a desire to work together, to be unified, to work together as a community, and to work together as a country. So I hope that this helps you realize the power of positivity and that it challenges you to look for the good. And some things that you can do to help you in that: make sure you're not consuming the negative things, the fear-mongering stories that are out there. Look for the good. Look for the positive, even if it's just going outside and listening to the birds sing. Those are good, positive steps forward. And lastly, I would encourage you, as we are social distancing, still find ways to have that community. Still find ways to talk to your friends, to talk to those in your Sunday school class, to talk to your coworkers. There's a great app called Zoom, and it is free, up to 100 people, up to 40 minutes. So it allows you to see each other's faces. You can mute as you begin to talk, or as others need to talk, you can mute that. But you can sit and you can have coffee with one another, or you can laugh, or you can talk about some of your favorite shows. So that still allows you to have that community. Have a text going. The GroupMe app is another great app you can use to keep your social distancing but still socialize. So thank you guys for joining us this week on Unmasked. I am praying for all of you, and I look forward to seeing you next week.